Hey, it's Jeff W. Welsh. Welcome to the Hardcore Happiness Podcast, where we talk about the art and science of how to create your best life. Expect to discuss mindset and purpose, the positive and the profound, and anything else that contributes to the healthiest, happiest, most successful life you can imagine. This is your sanctuary against fear-mongering and propaganda, the place to focus on a life of well-being and satisfaction and transform your world. I'm Jeff W. Welsh, and this is Hardcore Happiness. You know, I came from a lower middle class military family with one income and kind of a scarcity mindset. It seemed like the threat of outright poverty was always lurking around the corner. Our parents told us as much. We didn't live in a nice place. We didn't take vacations. I was determined to experience more of the world, to do whatever I had to do, but it seemed like I was hopelessly trapped. This is the story of how I learned to break out. Everybody wants something. We're hardwired that way. It's basic human biology. You have a powerful dopaminergic reward system that makes you want to progress, to discover, to become, to get what you want. Some people want a better pair of shoes. Some people want a fancy car and a big house. Some people want to create financial escape velocity, like I talked about in my last blog and podcast. Some people have the unrealistic desire to create world peace. Zen monks want less. The fact that we want something by definition means we currently don't have it. That creates a gap between what we have now and what we want in the future. Here's the inconvenient truth. No external entity can give you what you're after. The government can't do it. If it could, you'd already have everything you want. Rich people aren't going to give it to you. If you could find a way to be rich, you probably wouldn't give it away either. Your parents can't and shouldn't give you everything you want. If you're an adult, shame on you for even thinking about that. The reality is that you are the only person who can get what you want. To do that, you have to look inward to an internal source of strength, not hope for some external benefit or luck. As humans, we are uniquely qualified to bridge the gap between what we have and what we want. As a matter of fact, we possess three primary tools that allow us to acquire the things we desire. The first of these is the gift, not the burden, but the gift of personal responsibility. This is kind of a side effect of knowing that you are you in the first place. Self-awareness is definitely not distributed equally among the animal kingdom. Humans are pretty much the only ones who have this degree of self-awareness. When you realize you're responsible for everything in your life, you will immediately start to regain your personal power, and you will stop being a victim of, victim mentality. The only thing you have control of is yourself. Listen to that again. Let it percolate and absorb what it really means. The only thing you have control of is you. The power of this thought lies in the fact that if you're responsible for it, you can change it. When you internalize your locus of control, as we say in psychology, you have taken the first step towards getting what it is you desire. Happiness does not come in the form of a pill or an injection or a check or relationship. It comes from you and you alone. This realization is necessary but not sufficient to put you on the path towards your own happiness. At this point, a lot of people think things like, this is absurd. I can't be responsible for everything because I'm not in control of everything. This is true, of course, but you are the master of your own internal world. You are responsible for everything you're in control of, and for the rest, you're responsible for the way you react to it. The only way you can lose this kind of power is to give it away, to let someone else decide how you feel, what you think, and you are in control of whether or not you let that happen. Let's say the weather changes and scuttles your plans for a nice weekend out. Maybe you were going to do a picnic. You're obviously not in control of the weather, but you are in control of how you let that external event influence your internal world, the way you think and feel and react. You're obviously free to mope and sulk and complain and make yourself and everybody around you miserable. But this is not in alignment with your happiness and is most likely the opposite of what you really want. Instead, you can exert your personal responsibility, adjust your mindset, show some gratitude, and make new plans that will actually make you happy. Did somebody say something mean to you? Did you get fired from your job? Did your significant other break up with you? We can actually discuss how you're probably responsible, at least in part, for those decisions, but that's all in the past. The thing you have to deal with now is, how do you move forward? My advice is to choose the way forward that gives you the least anxiety and the most happiness, and in fact, moves you closer to what you want. Maybe you wake up one day and you discover your clothes don't fit and you can no longer see your toes. You might be dangerously morbidly obese. This didn't happen overnight, and it's not going to be fixed immediately either. There isn't any surgery or pill or shot that doesn't come with massive side effects to fix that kind of a situation. As always, you and you alone are responsible for your health, and it's not rocket science. To keep from getting there, it requires attention to exercise and diet. And it requires one other thing. And this is the ingredient that most people lack when they try to create change in their own lives, even though it's within their grasp. And this brings us to the second tool that you have to get what you want. Let's face it, the path towards a better life, towards getting what you want, is steep and narrow. It's not easy. Social media is full of sayings like "the only easy day was yesterday" and "embrace the suck, stay hard." Pain is just weakness leaving the body. Choose your favorite cliche or invent one yourself. Like all cliches, they're still around because they embody a truth. And the truth is, it's not easy to get what you want. See, dopamine may have powered your desire for something better, but it's grit that's going to bring it to fruition. If it was as easy as putting Post-it note affirmations on your bathroom mirror, everybody would already have everything they want. What we're talking about here, the second step, of course, is discipline. And it is absolutely necessary to get what you want. You want to lose weight? First, you accept responsibility for your physical health. Then you use your discipline to stop eating crap and start exercising. And for most people, it really is that simple. Eat less of the right things and find a way to consistently move your body. Are you tired of being broke? Accept responsibility for the fact that you're the only person in charge of your finances. Then develop discipline to do the two things that will make you unbroke. Make more and spend less. It takes discipline to live within your means, for sure. It takes even more discipline to do the research and decision-making to discover a new, more profitable way forward in your life. Once you figure out what's going to make you more money and is something that you can and will do, develop the discipline to do it. That path may entail you giving up things that you don't want to give up, or changing your location, or going to college, or learning a new trade. This is one of those many cases where you can pick your heart, another internet meme. You get to decide with your personal responsibility whether it's harder to stay broke or harder to move to a place where you're not broke. When I first started this podcast, I talked about the fact that I realized I was going to have to dig myself out of the place that I did not like. It required many, many years of trying to figure out what to do, and then even more years of going to college and developing different careers. And I finally was able to break free, but it wasn't easy. What about your relationship? What if it's stale or unfulfilling? Maybe it's even abusive. It's the same process. Accept responsibility for your part in that relationship and for the fact that you choose to remain in that relationship. Once you've done that, it's just a matter of discipline. Go to counseling, change your own maladaptive behavior in the relationship, maybe end the relationship altogether. Are you unhappy with the fact you drink too much or smoke too much or spend too much time in mind-numbing, time-wasting pursuits like video games and binging television or worse? And by the way, I like a good video game as much as anyone else, but I have the discipline to only do it when I have the time to do it. It can be an escape. It can be a way that you can binge your Netflix or play your video game or whatever it is that you like to do that keeps you from doing what it is you really want to do, that keeps you from getting what it is you want. How do you fix that? You know the drill by now. Accept the fact you're the only person who can change your behavior, and then just do it. I know it's not always that easy. Look, nobody's saying it's easy. I'm saying it's simple. It's not incredibly complex. It doesn't take advanced mathematics to figure out how to do this, but it does take discipline, and it is definitely not easy. By now, it's probably clear to you that those two steps are simply opposite sides of the same coin. Until you take responsibility for what's bothering you, you won't believe that it's within your power to change it. And unless you actually have the discipline to change course, all the responsibility taking in the world won't matter. The recipe is simple, but not easy. Take responsibility for what you need to do, and then do it. And again, I'm a realist about these kinds of things. I've done this myself. This is not some Pollyanna, pie-in-the-sky recipe for how to do something that it's impossible to do. So the question becomes, how do you develop discipline? It's also simple but hard. Don't accept excuses from yourself. This is where the rubber of discipline meets the road of responsibility. This is the place where people learn to say things like, skinny feels better than food tastes. You're making a choice here. That piece of chocolate cream pie, my personal weakness, looks amazing. But once you commit to the personal responsibility of managing your own health, you realize the taste is not as amazing as the feeling of being able to fit in your clothes. And it definitely doesn't justify heart disease or diabetes or maybe having to get your knees replaced. Your simple part-time job may be convenient and it may not have required you to do anything special to qualify for it. But then when you're replaced by someone who does your job cheaper than you, or when the business closes entirely, or for some other reason that you no longer have that job, you may realize you deserve something better. There's the decision point again. You can decide at any point, today, tomorrow, day after that you want a better life. You may decide to get what you want, which is what we're talking about here. That decision may well require you to develop the discipline to master a new skill, or gain industry qualifications to get a higher paying or maybe more secure job. You might even have to move where there's more opportunities than are available in your little one-horse town, should you be stuck in a place like that. And almost always, financially at least, you got to learn how to curb your impulse spending and live within your means. You can probably spend more than you make no matter how much you make. If you look at your finances and at the end of the month you've got $120 of disposable income, probably not a good time to go and get the new Tesla, no matter how cool it is. Obviously, we overspend because it makes us feel better, and we overeat because comfort food helps us with our emotions. But the way we do the behaviors that get into these situations comes from the fact that we allow ourselves to accept excuses from us. You have to look at it this way. You don't feel like exercising today? Too bad. If you've already chosen the hard of having to get your exercise over the hard of becoming physically ill, just get up and do it. It doesn't matter what time it is, if you're kind of tired, whatever. Just make it a habit. It's like if you had to pee, you're not going to sit there and go, well, I'm just going to wet myself. It's too hard to make it. You're just going to do what you got to do, right? Look at exercise the same way. Maybe you're sick and not having enough money left over to go out with a friend. Find something that you will and can do that pays better. Stop spending money on stupid crap. Again, if you've committed to the personal responsibility of a better financial situation, just do whatever it takes to get a better job and stop spending money. Yes, it will take time. Let's say it takes you 4 years to get a better degree, and you can plan that forward into the future. You're going to be doing something in 4 years anyway. Do you want to still be broke? Or do you want to have the satisfaction of having done something to get yourself out of the situation? You get to choose. But don't choose it based on excuses. It doesn't matter if your friends are planning an expensive trip to Disneyland. If you can't afford it, don't go. It doesn't matter if you don't want to go back to school or learn a new career. It's too hard and it'll take too long. Stop whining. If you've committed to a better life, just do it. Now I want to tell you a secret. This secret explains why discipline is better than motivation. Deep down underneath all the rest of that uncensored monkey mind self-talk that you do, you're afraid. I'm afraid. We're all afraid at times. There's nothing to be ashamed of there, but just know it's fear that's keeping you stuck. It's fear that keeps you from committing to the things you know you need to do. Because God forbid, what if you're not pretty enough or smart enough or strong enough? What if you can't crush the thing you decide to do right away? I mean, what the hell? Everybody on the internet is supermodel, beautiful, and incredibly rich and has private jets and everything's so easy for them. What if you're just not that person? Newsflash, they're not that person either. Look, everybody's afraid. When you feel fear, you are definitely not motivated. And if you wait for motivation, you're never going to do what you got to do. So forget motivation. Just have the discipline to get up and do what you need to do. Don't think about it. Just get up and do it. What if your friends don't like what you're doing and they're like, oh man, you've changed. Are you too good for us now? Who cares? Get up and do it anyway. Sometimes progress involves loss. Sometimes your progress will inspire them to do the same thing. It's a win-win when that happens. What if you're still young enough that you worry about what your parents say and they say you're wasting your time, you need to just do something safe? Ignore them. Do what you need to do anyway. Here's the deal. It's your life. Nobody else can live it for you, no matter how much you love them and no matter how much they love you. Your parents can't do it. Your friends can't do it. Your authority figures, your pastor, your rabbi, the guy on the internet cannot do it for you. It's not a bad thing to look to those people for ideas, but at the end of the day, you have to decide what you want. You have to decide what it is that you're willing to do, and then you have to develop the discipline to make it happen. Just don't let yourself off the hook. It really is that simple. Make a plan, execute each step of the plan, no matter what. This is not a plea for you to be a mindless grind bro. That's ridiculous. I'm not saying to work yourself into the ground here, like sleep is for wimps and all that kind of stuff. But when you do rest, do it intentionally because you know you need to rest. Don't do it as an excuse or an escape because you just don't feel like doing the work of having a better life. You still want to get what it is you want to get. Discipline also requires that you have the maturity to delay gratification. Chances are good that whatever situation you're trying to escape did not happen overnight, and in any case, significant life change almost always takes time. Accept that you have the power to change. Take the time to figure out what you need to do, and then commit to doing it, no matter what. Here's a phrase you can remember. Here's what it means to commit. Never give up. Never give in. And this is a hard one. Never settle. Get what it is that you want. It's your life. It's short, and you're the only person who can do it. So maybe you decide it's just too hard to move forward and you just want to stay where you are. That's fine, but do us a favor and don't whine about it if you choose that. We're too busy achieving things, and if you decide to stay stuck, well, that's your decision and your responsibility as well. And if you're just too afraid to make a change, no matter how hard you try, talk to a coach or a mentor who can step by step help you move through that fear. Everything you want is on the other side of fear. Famous quote, we have nothing to fear but fear itself, right? This is true. It's also incredibly difficult, but let me say that one more time. Everything that you want is on the other side of fear. So personal responsibility and discipline will get you moving on your path towards a better life, a path to get what you want. But there is a third ingredient, a third necessary tool to keep you on the path long enough for it to manifest. We've said this before, getting what you want is a long-term commitment. It's not a weekend project. To continue to do what you have to do will require focus. When I say focus, I mean your ability to keep your eyes on the prize, as they say, to learn to ignore the distractions that would pull you away from the task you've set for yourself, and to do that over an extended period of time. You've seen how people fail at this every new year. People get all fired up about their New Year's resolution, and by mid-February, they've completely abandoned it. When I discipline myself to go to the gym, which I frequently do not feel like doing, and it's January, it is packed. I'm waiting in line for every machine and every free weight. By the end of February, not so bad. And by March, I got the place to myself because focus was missing. Those people had the self-responsibility to realize they wanted to get in better shape. They even had the discipline to get up, join the gym, and go for a while. Focus in the long term is what keeps you moving. Life is full of distractions, and now more than ever, we're programmed to want immediate gratification. But you can't expect to work out for a week and completely change your physique. You can't do one class at a community college and then say, it's too hard to get a master's degree. You can't decide that you want a career as a welder and never pick up a torch. You can't have the goal of making the world a better place and never share your wisdom and your experience with anybody. There's no shortage of resources available to help you gain and maintain this kind of long-term focus, many of which I've written about elsewhere. You can find that in my blogs. Don't be afraid to reach out to people who are on the same path. They'll inspire you. Learn how to use project management tools. I'm talking about software, so that you have a predetermined set of milestones that keeps you looking forward and making progress. To say, yes, I want to achieve a great thing out there somewhere in the cosmos is a great first step. But until you take step-by-step instructions and you look at what you have to do today and then next week, and then you've got it written someplace where you can look at it and go, did I do that yet? Oops, better keep that going. That kind of progressive ladder will keep you making progress. And there's a million ways to do that with spreadsheets and all kinds of things, and many of them are free. Heck, you can get out a pen and a pad of paper and do it yourself. But write it down, decide the steps you need to do to get where you need to go, and continue to make progress. That will help you with this issue of focus that we're talking about. And by all means, if you can, choose an accountability partner so that you can keep each other looking ahead to the long-term benefits you were so excited initially to have. When you don't feel like working out and you get that phone call that goes, bro, going to the gym? You're less likely to go, I'm kind of a wimp today. And you're more likely to say, yeah, I probably should do that. That works for everything. Weight loss, learning a new language, whatever it is that you're trying to do. If you can find someone else to do it with, you hold each other accountable and you give each other inspiration. But the point is, keep your long-term focus. Do whatever you have to do so that you can stay with the personal responsibility and the discipline that you work so hard to gain. Remember, this is your decision to get what it is you really want. This is your life we're talking about. As far as anyone is absolutely sure of, you only get one. Accept personal responsibility. Develop the discipline you need to get the job done, and then stay focused. The whole point here is to do whatever you have to do to get what you want. Make your life the way you want it to be and live up to the way that you see fit. It's all up to you. Nobody ever said any of this would be easy, but it is how to get what you want. The Hardcore Happiness Podcast is live every Friday in video form on YouTube and in audio form wherever you listen to podcasts. Visit my podcast page at jeffwwelsh.studio, where you can see past episodes and listen to the latest one. Be sure to subscribe so you never miss an episode. You can also check out the links page at jeffwwelsh.com if you want to contact me or if you're interested in having me speak to your organization. You can subscribe to my work on the Hardcore Happiness blog page and the Jeff W. Welsh Substack or Medium accounts. Follow my accounts on Instagram and X. To support this community, you can donate through my Patreon account. Thanks for watching. I'm Dr. Jeff W. Welsh.